Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, I'll say one nice thing first. Chris Rock believes that this person is the most influential comedian of the last 25 years. It's not him. It's not Dave. It's not Cat Williams. It's Kathy Griffin. And the reason it's Kathy Griffin is because before Kathy Griffin, no one talked about celebrity run-ins.
Oh, I had a run-in with Whitney Houston. Are you in?
And then Kathy did 21 specials on Bravo. And now everyone has a little celebrity bit or like a show on a graphic or a text or like, believe me when I tell you, no one did it before her. That's my first compliment. My second compliment is you're the only comedian that's actually gotten canceled.
Oh, really canceled?
Yeah, like
not
I'm
like
saying.
Fakey
No,
canceled.
it's not theater. It's
no,
not.
it
I'm
was
doing
an investigation by two agencies within the Department of Justice where I was interrogated under oath. The Secret Service and the U.S. Attorney's Office was very seriously considering charging me with a conspiracy to assassinate the President of the United States.
Right. By assassination by photo shoot.
Yes. And I actually got a FOIA about this recently. And
Freedom of Information Act.
And it showed how aggressively the Oval Office was pursuing actual criminal charges.
Yes. So whenever someone's talking about I'm canceled, they're canceled, go, all right, let's compare their cancellation to Kathy Griffin's cancellation. Most of the people I know moved up a venue.
A no-fly list.
Fucking no. Anywhere?
Anywhere.
For how long?
2 months.
That's fucking insane.
That's a tour killer.
Yeah, that's a tour killer for sure. And also you love, the only upside is you were also a big fan of the Mile High Club.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's all. That's you.
I punch my card.
Girl. So there's that. And you lost you were stable on Bravo?
Only on Bravo.
Gone.
Yeah, I lost, first of all, I was in the middle of a 50-city tour. And within 72 hours, every single theater had canceled because they were getting so many bomb threats to the theaters. So the tour was canceled very quickly. As like my agents got scared and basically the phone stopped ringing for 5 years.
Okay, well, that was what I was going to ask you. When did you think, because one of your blocks is like people still thinking you're canceled.
Yeah.
And when did you feel like, okay, I think I'm over, it's over?
Like 2 months ago.
Oh, for real?
And what I mean by that is, this whole time I've been a pitching animal. I was pitching game shows and talk shows and unscripted, anything.
You've had a lot of TV shows. You did how many seasons of the
Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List.
6 seasons. I had a talk show called Kathy for 2 seasons. I was on a sitcom in the 90s for 4 years. And like you said, I've done specials at HBO, Comedy Central, and then Bravo. And so
world record amount. 21.
I am in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I think you're right.
And so that part was probably the hardest psychologically. But the seismic nature of this cancellation was that photo, like it or not, was manipulated and had captions put to it in Iran, China, Russia, within 12 hours. So the Trump machine was really doing that, and they knew how to do it, and they had the apparatus to do that sort of stuff. So I would.
What were they, like him as victim?
Well, I was a terrorist. So at first I was a member of ISIS.
So would Iraq want you?
Well, Syria.
Have you been asked to join ISIS?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I am committee chair of the Bake Off. So, that was, as crazy as that sounds, that was sort of the original story. And now it's morphed into the MAGA people now have decided that I have been to Epstein Island.
Oh.
Because,
you love underage girls.
And I was molesting underage girls. And while I wish that was a fringe theory, the MAGA QAnon folks, we're talking tens of millions of Americans. And so the MAGA terrorism stuff then turned into, she's just basically a child Hollywood pedo, as they would like to say.
Sure.
And still undeserving of work or really to live.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been going on and on.
Which in showbiz, they're synonymous anyway.
Yes.
Like if you're not working, you're dead.
You're dead. In fact, you probably never existed, frankly, the more I think about it. And so unless you have a TikTok resurgence, which fingers crossed. And So the losing the work stuff was brutal. I lost I lost a lot of friends, like maybe half my friends, which was also bizarre.
Was it like weakness on their part?
I think
I'd like to say I can't remember if I texted you, and if I didn't, I am sorry. Like the more I go along, I'm more like, it's like if somebody's in trouble, call them, or like, because you think, I'm not Kathy, but it's like we're tangential. Like we like each other, but it's like, so I apologize if I didn't. There's a chance I may have, but I don't know.
I'm gonna kind of look it up actually after this.
Yeah,
but,
I think you have to.
I would have loved that and love that. The thing that was really hurtful was I just didn't have any advocates that could like move the dial on it. Like I had some friends calling me, and I had some Hollywood people calling me saying, man, this is so messed up and he's terrible and it's a First Amendment violation, which it was. But I found that those folks were kind of wanting to be part of this thing. But two of them are really, really prominent producers, comedy producers. And after a while I said, getting these texts from you is actually getting like painful, because what I need a job. I need somebody to give me 5 lines in anything.
Yeah.
I need a cameo on SNL
like
that's
Pulp
2
Fiction.
seconds.
She was in Pulp Fiction.
I carried Pulp Fiction.
If you need someone to go to court, I will be glad to help, okay? That guy was a drunken maniac. He hit you, and then he crashed into that car.
I don't even remember the Ving Rhames scenes.
No.
I remember you.
I remember Witness
the
number
dance.
3.
What's that?
Witness number 3. That was probably my character.
Didn't he say it wasn't Kathy Griffin as herself?
No, actually, Quentin Tarantino credited me in Pulp Fiction, Kathy Griffin as herself.
Yeah, all right, good. That's what
which made me feel very famous.
Pretty great.
Very famous.
That was huge.
That really
huge.
was. And
it was. You couldn't explain it to people.
Yeah.
Like Pulp Fiction, it's still popular.
Oh yeah.
30 years later.
Yeah.
And every frame of it works.
And to be just sidebar, to be around that and the filming was really magical. Like yes, everybody knows I love celebrities. I'm enamored with celebrity, but I really love talent.
Yeah.
And so I went to the set a couple of other times when I wasn't working, and I was very friendly with Quentin at the time.
Yeah.
He called me when he was writing it, and he read me a very famous I don't see a sign here that says dead.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
that's coming from me.
That's right.
Did you notice a sign in the front of my house that said...
And that was like magical. It was magical then, because the night he read me the scene, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, like, oh,
this is really pretty good dialogue. I kind of think this might have some.
I remember a friend of mine saw it at a screening the night before, and he's like, there's a scene where he's talking fucking it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And anyway, so that was magical to have 3 lines, but also like going to the cast party.
Yeah.
And Christopher Walken was there dancing. Like magical moments.
Yeah. No, that was also like, I mean, I guess would have been what the 50s were in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was 30 years ago. So like, it's hard to explain to people how.
Right.
Like, even like, how did you get in a movie?
It was nuts. I was sort of dating him, first of all.
But what I'm saying is like, that was my feeling about everyone.
And I loved that he was a big Groundlings fan.
Right.
So he would go to the Thursday night improv show, and he put 5 Groundlings are in that movie. Julia Sweeney, who played Harvey Keitel's girlfriend. My favorite is the Gimp, a guy named Steve Hibbert. He was a Groundling.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The Gimp,
okay. Yeah.
That guy, and I remember he was on set a lot in that freaking outfit. Like that, they did not shoot him out in a day. I remember him talking about how hard it was to be the Gimp in Pulp Fiction. And now we see why.
I had a joke with Ving Rhames that he's the only person to get raped in a movie that even dudes were like,
right.
You took that shit like a G. Like I felt you on that, just like but that's the whole movie is like that. Yeah. Like, why is this working so good?
I know.
Amazing.
I know. I actually one night Quentin and I drove to, I think it was Redondo Beach, because they used to have a Dunkin' Donuts there, and I knew the fry time, so I said, I can promise you hot donuts. And we drove past the video store where he worked. Like that was magical.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you're saying, as you get older, I really have an appreciation for those moments. Like whatever I bitch about being canceled or whatever, I've had some crazy cool moments that actually mean something to me. And that was one of them. Like having the opportunity to have a few lines in that movie, whatever, getting to do My Life on the D List and have it be like a real reality show. It wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would just stop doing that and then script them. Like that didn't even occur to me. But now I look back and I'm like, oh, that show is kind of
Right,
really
like you guys didn't have to
good."
go to a fake gun range
There were no
outing.
No, there were no scripts.
And you were like if not first, like very early and including your parents.
Oh, my parents were naturals. They
Yeah.
should have spun them off season 1, by the way. My parents just had that thing. They
Oh,
just
yeah.
were so authentic and were hilarious and were drinking on camera the way they did in life. And it was just real, you know?
What are your other big ones like that?
Like, I think,
And what is,
I think about playing Carnegie Hall myself 5 times.
Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah.
Every night was magical in its own way. Just the honor. I call that the church. Like, I guess if I had to pick a venue. But just standing on that stage, and it's just one of those things where not only did I never think it happened, but also I didn't know it lends itself so well to stand-up. But the acoustics still work for the symphony.
I did a show
for stand-up.
in Seattle at the Symphony Hall last year. And I was always kind of like, it's like the chamber music room, right?
Yeah.
I did a joke. It was like bing, bang, bang. It was just
Yeah.
like the fastest thing where I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like it does make such a huge difference that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah.
Why do you think they, not like the basic showbiz thing of like, I had a dream and are there any specifics that you're like, that one means a lot?
Probably the specials tied with My Life on the D List. And I was doing them around the same time. But I just loved doing it. And, you know, I love making people laugh. Really, I don't care if it's a commercial or a reality show or a scripted show. I just love making people laugh.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was real. I was under the radar in a good way during all those specials because it wasn't like a big priority to them. So they would kind of just do them. Like, I think when they were doing their annual budget, they just were like, okay, let's put at least one slot for Kathy Griffin specials. And so they became not a very difficult thing for them to do and incredibly, you know.
And you're the only horse on that.
Yes, I take pride in that I'm actually disappointed they didn't continue to do specials because I taught them how to do specials.
There's also a lot of people that would work very well on there.
Yes.
That they
I
probably
agree.
think it's low rent or something. You know how that was always the reputation?
I know, but on the Housewives, they're all like, you know, in jail and stuff. I mean, there's another one who just went to prison again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to tell you about the Housewives of Salt Lake City.
I mean, please.
I don't get started on your blog about it.
One of is that the one? Oh, they're all swingers now or something?
That's Sister Wives. Hey, you know what, Grandma? Try to keep up.
Okay, so you're the only one that to me got canceled.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about. Well, tell me what it's like. What is it like? Does it just the free fall?
Well, it was really fast. You know, it was overnight.
It's the fastest free fall I've ever seen.
It was quick.
And then Roseanne beat your time.
Can I tell you, that whole thing makes me so sad because I loved her.
Roseanne's fucking funny.
And she's fucking funny, but also what an icon. No one ever looked like her. No one talked like her.
Absolutely.
No one presented. She's like full QAnon now. She's beyond MAGA. Like she thinks Joe Biden isn't the real,
right.
It's an
He's
actor
a robot.
playing. Right. Yeah. Yes.
Her thing she said on Theo's podcast was really funny. And she got in trouble. The thing about, she said if rednecks made it's a good thing Jews run showbiz because if rednecks do it, it'd be all fishing shows, which is a fucking hilarious observation. 6 months ago, she fucked up the setup with the Jewish stuff, but like that punchline's really funny.
It is good.
I'm in trouble again with Satanists.
Okay, so what does it feel like? So the crazy thing is it comes from me at all ends. So God forbid I had looked online. So I kind of went on a media blackout after like a day. But I did think for a minute like this is going to change. Then the calls. I was going to do 2 book events for Al Franken. And he called me and he just went, I can't be associated with you. What were you thinking? That just sent me sobbing. Then seeing on
Had he gotten canceled yet?
No. I know.
But I'm sure you didn't get any satisfaction from it.
Not really. No.
Like, see, that's what you get. It's like, it's not fair. It stinks.
Yeah. It doesn't really help us. Okay. So, then, you know, I read on the ticker on CNN that I was fired from New Year's Eve with Anderson Cooper. I read it on the ticker. Then I got a text from Anderson. Anderson Cooper like made a statement, which was really bad. It was really
I don't know her.
Yeah. Well, then Andy Cohen literally went on tape for TMZ and said, I don't know her.
Who? Kathy Griffin.
Who? Can you understand their point of view at all.
Yeah, of course, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
But just remember, I didn't just have the right turn on me. I had the right, left, and center.
Yeah.
So that's another
It's
thing
called
that
unity.
made... Finally, the country came together.
Yeah.
For about the first day, I was sort of strident about it. And then I started getting calls, which I now in retrospect see are so insane. But like a former publicist called me and said, you know, what if Daniel Pearl's mother sees this? The guy who was beheaded by ISIS. And this is going to be used in ISIS training videos. You know,
She was right about that.
yeah, but the Betamax version, which nobody has and so stuff like
Monkey
that
bars
was,
and you.
and me,
Yeah. Fantastic.
and so the fact that it came from all angles was tough. If I went outside, I was verbally assaulted almost immediately, no matter where I went.
Like yelling at
mostly
you.
people yelling at me, and occasionally someone like whispering like, good for you, he deserves it, or whatever,
Yeah.
like something like that. The death threats, which now are common, were actually not 6.5 years ago. So now you
They
hear
were
people all
for,
the
like,
time, I
Jon
got death threats and this
Jon
threat.
Stewart, The Daily Show, always John and Trevor,
Yeah.
like endless.
So I became, unfortunately to the right, I became the left's version of Ann Coulter. And as you mentioned about that lovely compliment from Chris Rock, I never did political humor. I mean, if something came up, I would.
Yeah.
But primarily it was my own run-ins with celebrities and how funny that would be.
Yeah.
And so it then thrust me into political lefty comedian Kathy Griffin.
Right.
And then it was a bunch of people that never saw my work to begin with, then, really thinking I deserved criminal charges. And turning on the TV, and there'd be a panel of 4 talking heads discussing the photo on CNN again. And then somebody that had a foundation with a membership of 3 people would make a statement and it would get coverage.
It's so funny because, it seems like so long ago.
Yeah.
And it's chaos all the time now.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
So I'm like, when was this?
And it's hard to imagine it eating up 5 minutes of a news cycle, much
Yeah.
less however long it took off. But what I didn't know is behind the scenes, the Trump machine was working overtime. That Bob Mueller had just been appointed. They had a lot of distracting
Right.
they wanted to do. So I've seen some of the machinations of how that went. And I've talked to a ton of Washington people, and I've talked to former people that were at the White House at the time.
Does it make you...
I became a little bit of a detective because I wanted to try to figure out how it got so big.
Okay, well, here's my question. You must have learned things that surprised you.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Does it then go like you're not QAnon, but you understand it? You understand how someone can get, like, you knew of something that you would have thought was a conspiracy 6 months earlier.
yeah,
And then you find out that it's real, and you
Yeah.
must go like, how many more conspiracies are there?
yeah.
Or that I think are conspiracies that are actually real things. So
Yeah.
did you get any empathy in that way?
Did I receive any or see any?
No. Could you understand someone who's paranoid in a different way?
Oh, yeah. But I also was taking it in initially that what if that photo was used in an ISIS video? I was very seriously hearing the things people were saying. Now they've been debunked, but I started thinking, I don't want to just blow that off. And so, of course, I could understand, this comedian who it's not her lane anyway. And now she's gone and done this thing.
Did you think to yourself, I knew I shouldn't have done political comedy?
Stick to prop work. And so of course, are you kidding? I thought, what if, God forbid, an American gets freaking decapitated and somebody says in a video,
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy Griffin, for the
yes,
inspiration.
so my God, there's the other side. There's the other side, and that makes sense.
But that's also...
And stuff is so crazy that someone could have, for all I know.
Did you feel guilt and shame about it?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
you'd be...
And also, as a chick and a woman of a certain age, I was like, oh, great. I'm like one of those women that let down other chicks and other, not
Yeah.
there's not
Well,
that
okay,
one
that's
of
an
us-
interesting angle, though. Like, how would you... Who was worse about it, men or women?
Equal.
Yeah. Okay.
Equal.
So you didn't feel...
Older people had a problem with it more than younger people.
Okay.
Immediately, gay guys loved it. And they were I saw a video days after the photo of a bunch of gay guys dressed like me at Fire Island doing a little 5-guy parade.
That's great.
And they had Halloween masks.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm human. I would like cling to something like that.
Sure.
And I knew it would take an amount of time. I never thought it would take years. And like you said, it is forever ago. 6.5 years, especially in this news cycle,
Yeah.
is forever ago.
It's like a dream. It's like, did I hear about that?
Right,
What was
right.
that? Did I
But
dream that?
the great Jane Fonda said, you know what, kid, this is what's going to be on your tombstone. And she's right. So I get it, especially like if I meet somebody at a dinner
You
party.
think she's Hanoi Jane forever?
I think people think of her as Hanoi Jane forever. I've heard older dudes refer to her today as Hanoi Jane.
Oh, yeah. When you remember did anybody have a catchy slogan for you?
What?
Like Headless Kathy?
I mean, I prefer just the beheader. But, because I'm simple and direct.
Fuck.
It's like my
You're
new
going-
tour. My life on the PTSD list is really what it's
You're
about.
going on the no-fly zone. Or
Again?
the no-spin zone. Wait, what? Who?
Don't put down my mother's boyfriend.
Is your...
My mother used to call Bill O'Reilly her boyfriend.
Yeah. My mom sent me his book one time.
Yeah.
My mom was born in 1933 in Chicago, so
Okay.
I'm pretty sure similar.
Right.
Oh, okay. No, you know what? I want to talk about your voice real quick.
Okay.
What I didn't know about it.
So I had lung cancer.
Right.
And I've never smoked, but I just got it. And so
Yeah.
they had to take
Did
out.
your parents?
No.
You know what's interesting about lung cancer? I looked
Neither
up
parent smoked.
what percentage of smokers get lung cancer?
Right.
15%.
No.
I swear, I looked it up like a week ago, and I looked it up 3 different places. One was 10 to 20%. One was 15.
That makes sense because I also, my own surgeon said it's on the rise among people that don't smoke or never smoked, but it's also on the rise in general.
Well, pollution, right?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Um,
Like mine could have been from like radon or something when I was a kid. I don't know.
what were they doing with radon?
Isn't that an insecticide?
Maybe.
All right. We used to have this thing, not making this up, the DDT truck. And the moms, including my mom, would call us and go, kids, the DDT truck is here. You know this, right?
Wanda
I'm
did
not
a bit
making this
about
up.
it.
Yeah.
Wanda did a bit about it.
And
Like it's
you'd
an
run
you
out.
can't believe
It's
it.
a cloud. We used to call it the cloud, and we would call it dancing in the cloud. And we would follow the truck because it went slow. And no one thought that they were pesticides or that what could possibly be bad about pesticides and children following them like a Pied Piper.
You can't. I've been doing a bit lately about. Remember when sunblock began? There was no
Right,
sunblock,
right.
And then they were like, "Hey,"
Right.
and we're like, "Oh, okay."
You were just out of luck.
I remember a comedian, Billiam
Yes.
Cornell, did a joke when it was about SPF 45, and he's like, "A flannel shirt is SPF
Yeah.
30." So like it was crap.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you get the diagnosis and what happens?
Just like 2 different shrinks and my oncologist also. But I think the cancer stuff might have been, well, not worse than the Trump stuff, but I think it was put me over the freaking edge because I was injured during my surgery. So I'm now cancer free. But when they were taking out the half lung, they paralyzed my left vocal cord permanently, and I have an aperture above my cords. So when I do stand up now, my voice, the adrenaline makes it go into a higher pitch than this. But even this is like a higher pitch of my voice. So
Well, you're clearly nervous.
I'm very nervous to be around you in person. I've only heard the stories, but I'm self-conscious about it. I can no longer yell, which is just bizarre as a comic. I can't do impressions. So my voice just can't quite do stuff. So I'm just learning how to.
Do you feel weaker as a result?
No, I have to ask the audience to give me a little license and I do this right up top of the show. I tell them what happened and this is why my voice sounds different, but that's all it is. And then I'm fine. And then
Will it
we
get
kind of
better?
move on. No,
Shit.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you can't go loud, yeah, that's not great. But
I
I
know.
would say going higher is better though.
Yes. Well, it's also, I don't have a choice. I can only go higher.
Right, but I
But
mean, like, if you
I did
think
get a better
about
microphone. I now do the headset like Madonna microphone.
right, finally,
I had no idea there's so much like more amplification.
I didn't know that.
I thought all mics were the same. And I'm telling you, I
They're
tried
louder?
the headset one and it's somehow louder and you don't have to project as much.
Great.
I know.
And do you feel you don't seem to be very self-pitying? Are you?
I think so.
Yeah, I think most comedians are.
Yeah. I enjoy a pity party.
Oh, so it's
Right?
the only
I'm
kind of
never
party I
late.
like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're never late because you're always there.
I'm always there. Yeah. But
Um,
no, I try not to because that just helps me. I just get more depressed if I do pity myself and stuff. So, but the thing I do is I have a caseworker. like I'm on probation. I honestly do. Oh, you're gonna love this.
From the government?
No, I have a caseworker for my PTSD.
Oh,
But
okay.
now that you say that, what if she's a government spy and she's taking my data?
Yeah, what does that mean? A caseworker for your PTSD?
She's in charge of putting the team together that freaking keeps Humpty Dumpty back together again.
How big is the team?
The team's like 7 people.
Where?
At my house in Malibu. Naturally. Where do you think would be? It's in my
Victims
mansion.
Cove out of Malibu. Is that like a therapy thing that you needed to put together?
Yes. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so there's the regular shrink. That's fine.
Okay.
But he does the EMDR.
I know EMDR.
You do?
Sure
so I
do.
hold buzzers.
I know what you're doing.
Explain this to your fans.
Okay, guys. I'll tell you my
weird.
story with EMDR.
But don't bullshit. Tell the real story.
No, I'll tell the real
Okay,
story.
all right.
You recall experiences, at least this is what I do. Yeah. You recall experiences that were, hard or traumatic. And there's a buzzer, like a phone buzzer going off.
Like a vibration, like a cell phone. Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, so you're doing that. They're going, it's a binaural.
They control the speed of it going buzz, buzz, buzz,
right.
buzz.
Electro. So anyway, you re-experience it just in your memory, and you do a positive rewrite.
Right.
And then this EMDRs it in some weird brain shit. And I have buzzers of my own.
I also
at the crib.
own my own set of buzzers.
But I can't control the speed very well. There's only 2 speeds.
It's weird when you do it yourself. Anyway, so I do that.
How many? Once a week?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Breath work.
Great. Hypotropic?
Wait a minute. Why are you not like poo-pooing this? You know what breath work is? What kind of heterosexual man are you?
Kathy, I have been on a journey. I've been on a journey.
So you know what breath work is?
Holotropic?
I don't know. It's where they teach you.
Are you hyperventilating?
Yes. You're like.
Do you hallucinate or go to like another place?
No, I cry sometimes.
Okay. That's good. I think that's similar.
You don't think it's funny we have to take a class to learn how to breathe? Like you can't just, we're so messed up in the head, we can't just go in and out, in and out.
I'm still taking 2 stand-up classes. So no, I don't think we need, we didn't have any sort of training. Like everything about education of all kinds on earth is wrong.
That's true.
Like nothing.
They didn't train me for my life at all. I don't know whose life this is supposed to be.
Yes. It's supposed to be your mom's. It's supposed to be your mom and dad's life. Like they're preparing you for their
I'm
world.
Barren.
What?
I'm barren.
Is
I can't have 5 children.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I'm barren.
That's not one of your blocks, but I get it. Barren's not even the right word.
See?
Yeah. But so I'm just started drinking ayahuasca and just I'm open to whatever.
So I got so sick because the way my PTSD attacks happen is I can't stop vomiting. So that will lay you out. So then you got to get IV fluids. So I was going to the emergency room all the time. And so 10 months of that, I threw my hands up and said, whatever. So Kundalini yoga.
Sure. That's like starter level to me. I did Kundalini yoga 15 years ago. I'm a maniac.
Okay. First of all, I don't even know what it means when you go like this. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. What's Sat Nam?
To quote Will Ferrell, nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Gets the people going.
But I'm kind of afraid to ask.
What? I mean, have you done?
Sat Nam.
Have you done the mantra one? You just have a secret mantra that you repeat to yourself and you can't repeat it.
I just repeat what she has, like a weird poem she does, and then she also does a song, a freaking song at the end.
This is at your house?
Yes. And she dressed like she's in the PLO. And she comes over and she's got like the MC Hammer pants. God love her. And the hair is like gray down to the shoulder, but then brown from the shoulder to the butt.
Moire? No, what is it called?
It's called Do Your Roots. It's called Do Your Roots.
No, yeah, but it's a reverse roots.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Very trendy in that community. Now, I'm also afraid, like the breathwork lady and the Kundalini yoga, that they often lean, if not are, QAnon.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm terrified to ask if I do know they're vaxxed because of my half lung. I can't fuck with anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I know there's somehow a division about that. And not all anti-maskers are Trumpers. I'm not saying they are. But I can't.
But there's
it's a
they
respiratory
died
disease.
15% more after the vax was out. Do you know that?
Yes.
Again, that's what the mainstream media that I've counted on my entire life told me. Also, the Washington Post, who published the Pentagon Papers and Watergate. So, yep, you're right. They're on the wrong side. Anyhow, Kathy.
Okay.
Phew, that just got a little real.
I didn't know I walked into a socialist den of socialism.
I have a thing where I vomit when I'm being truthful. So when I'm feeling the truth.
You'll be fine. So as you know, that lays you out. Okay. So when they said, let's put this together, by the way, including, and I didn't even know this was a thing.
Who put it?
The case. So my shrink wrote some EMDR books. So a friend of mine said, I think this is the kind of therapy you might want to try. And this is a really good guy. So his name is Steve Danziger.
Okay.
So there you go. He wrote some books. And so he said, we can put together more people besides the MDR. So I was like, great. So I didn't even know this was a thing. And now I do it once a week. I get IV infusions that are not saline, but they're like vitamin bags. And they have like magnesium and it's yellow. So now a nice lady comes to the house. Now, if I'm having a panic attack, they actually are lifesavers because I lose so much fluid that I can't even function. So they'll come if I'm having an attack, but also sometimes they come once a week just for no reason except to do it and give me more vitamins.
Oh, do you have to puke that week to get it?
No.
You don't have to earn it?
If I'm in the middle of earning it, then it's like life or death.
And how often this is happening every day?
This was happening. No, I'm going to say it was happening like 4 days a week. And the scary thing is
Where would you be?
knew I'd be at home because I would know if I was going to have an attack within 60 seconds of waking up. And it would go down so fast from, I got a buzzy feeling in my chest, running to the bathroom to vomit. So fast.
Yeah.
And then like the driving, it's all horrible. So when the caseworker, who, by the way, has pink dreads and is Caucasian.
I don't even think black people are allowed to have dreads anymore. I think it's only white people at this point.
I'm wondering if it's Rachel Dolezal.
White people bought the rights to dreadlocks.
No, Rachel Dolezal is sticking to that script. She was on an interview like 2 weeks ago, and she's like, I'm tripling down.
You want to hear maybe the greatest gift I've ever gotten?
What?
For someone? Chris Rock, 20 by 20 piece of Dulles art.
A friend of mine, Neal Brennan, Neal Brennan,
love Neal Brennan.
Good friend of mine, sent me a piece of art, and I want to show you this piece of art. Can you see the art? Rachel Dolezal.
That is commitment to finding the perfect gift. That is like, I'm going to get this person something.
It's so funny.
That money can't buy.
It's so fun, unless they have the internet and they can pay for it. But like,
I thought you were saying unless they have $18.
No, it wasn't cheap.
Really?
I'm still on her mailing list.
Okay.
And some of it's good.
Good.
So
great.
Like, meaning it's like racial and like silly that she's doing it, but like, it would be
Is
good.
That bad?
Yeah,
Is
like
that bad art?
again, what inspires us or who we are.
Goes well in a home.
Yeah, pretty harmless foul.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah.
To her foul.
Yeah.
Hey, hi. I don't know why I'm saying this like a PSA. Like, hi. Ticket buying should be easy, and it's not. It's not been easy for some time. It's a bit of a Wild West environment. Anyhow, GameTime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Okay, you know me. This is where I freestyle. I go through the old app, and we make fun of the stuff. Okay, here we go. Lakers are good. Lakers are, if you live in LA, they're just a solid franchise. They're the Fast and Furious of basketball. They have multiple games on here. I live in LA. So they're all here. They're playing the Knicks. Somebody suggested that the Knicks blow themselves up this year. Don't agree. Celtics, that's a series with a ton of tradition that you don't care about at all. Do you remember Larry Bird? You don't? Okay. You still go to the game. Again, your town, whoever's playing, there's 30 franchises. They probably got one near you. Or maybe you take a road trip Like people in the South will be like, we drove from New Orleans, and you're in like Texas. You're like, Jesus. Supercross is coming up at Anaheim Stadium, Angel Stadium. I got to say, wouldn't not go if invited. Would go to Supercross, would go to Monster Trucks. When's that animated movie coming out about a bunch of monster trucks? Guys, I never stop thinking of content. Who else is coming up? The Clippers, you can't say enough about the Clippers. Go see them. Kawhi Leonard's a pretty stoic guy. I once wrote a tweet that Kawhi Leonard is the kind of guy that never tells his family what he does for work. He just goes, all right, Mama, I got to go to the playoffs. And she's like, what? And then he comes back. He scores 45 points, comes back, just sits at the kitchen table. It was a good tweet. It was a hot tweet. A lot of people stole it. Almost Acoustic Christmas, K-Rock, big radio station out here. Chili Peppers are going to be on that. They're just one of the people on it. That actually seems like that would be fun. I've never been to one of those festival things, but people love them. I know that. Game Time has last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Views from all the seats in the venue, so you know what you're getting up front. Lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. They're doing a lot. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BLOCKS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BLOCKS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, confetti, guaranteed. All right, just used to use the squirt soap, and they sent me some Dr. Squatch. I really like it, like way more than I thought I would. I have them all in a cabinet, and when I open the cabinet, it's like feeling a beautiful scented breeze. It really is nice. Come by the house, please. We'll go to my bathroom. I'll open it for you and go. And you'd be like, all right, I'll get out of here. All right, so I love the smell independently, and then what's it do to my body? Bet a lot of you are curious about. Been getting a lot of emails about, Neal, what's this Dr. Squatch doing to your body? I smell great. I don't think about it a lot. It leaves a nice sort of smooth feel, but it's not, doesn't feel artificially moist, which a lot of soaps feel like. And it's a bar, which I haven't used a bar in a while. That's fun. They make products that are better than the traditional soaps out there. They're high-performance natural product, 98% natural. No harmful ingredients. Sensory experience in the shower and on your skin. That's the smell and the feel. It's the perfect holiday gift, stocking stuffer, or treat yourself purchase. Buy 3 soaps and get 3 soaps for free. That's $28 in savings, like getting each bar for $4. So the featured products in the buy 3, get 3 offer: Cool Fresh Aloe Soap, Pine Tar Soap, not like baseball bat pine tar, it smells good, Fresh Fall Soap, Bay Rum Soap, Wood Barrel Bourbon Soap, Birchwood Breeze Soap, and one Soap Saver. Right now, Dr. Squatch is offering my listeners a huge savings. All new customers will get 3 free bars of soap plus free shipping with any purchase of 3 bars. Just go to drsquatch.com/NEAL to receive this buy 3, get 3 offer. That's DRSQUATCH.com/NEAL to buy 3 soaps and get 3 soaps for free. It's time to get all the daily routine essentials you'll need to start feeling good and smelling like a man today. Dr. Squatch. What a soap. EMDR. Blood banks.
Blood banks. EMDR, Kundalini Yoga, IV infusions, breath work, Pilates, chiropractor. Now, these aren't all weekly. Like Pilates,
Yeah.
Then I do a walk to and from the ocean that's about a 90-minute walk almost every day.
Great.
Change my diet. Nothing radical, but I can't like mess around with like bad foods anymore.
Like at all.
Well,
Chips. Were you a snacker like that before?
Yeah, but I have to really be careful. If I do anything like too rich, or if I just feel like binging on a junk food or something, it reminds me too much of being sick to my stomach. So I would say I did lose initially. I lost a bunch of weight in the scary, is your cancer back way. So I've been trying to gain a little more back, but that was also not fun. Like being so sick, I lost a bunch of weight in the not fun way.
Yeah. Were there any repercussions? Do you like worry about your teeth from vomiting? You know what I mean? Like those bulimia things where
no, that's I think like a prolonged year after year. I think so. This period, like I said, it was 10 months to a year, but I'm going to keep it at 10 months because that sounds less horrible.
Yep.
But it was fucking dark, man.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
I hate saying I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm truly sorry. That sounds like that no one deserves that.
Yeah, it was rough.
For any, let alone like a public pressure reason.
So all I can say is the PTSD is probably a lot of the like cancellation and the tentacles of that. I've also been sued 5 times by MAGA people. So like I have a case pending in Tennessee federal court. I had a case in Kentucky state court and Kentucky federal court, a separate case. And these were brought on by 12 additional families from the high school that, remember MAGA hat kid? He wore a MAGA hat and he was being rude to a Native American guy at the National Mall.
Yeah.
So their school is called Covington High School. So he settled with CNN. I don't know why they settled, but they did.
Do you know any idea of what they settled on?
Not a clue.
Yeah.
Not a clue. It could be $1. It could be 50 million.
So what are they suing you for?
I tweeted about that incident and they said it was defamation. So both of those cases were in the court system for about 3 years. I had a neighbor when I lived in Bel Air, California, and my next door, and we actually shared a wall, and he was like a wealthy CEO and he was a Trump guy. And he would, and this is on tape, he would stand in his yard and go, "You cunt, you fucking bitch. Trump put the heat on you. Now it's war." So I had my next door neighbor like doing that, which scared the crap out of me.
I feel like I heard that recording. Was that in your documentary?
It was on the news. I gave it to the Huffington Post because I thought, if I go missing, no one is going to think it's like, first of all, we were living next to Kim and Kanye at the same time.
Right.
So, everyone thinks they had they were dream neighbors. They were like the best neighbors you can imagine.
Yeah.
The CEO from KB Homes, on the other hand, had me in court for 3 years. He said that when I gave the tape to Huffington, remember, this is TikTok. How common is it now that you see somebody who's got a tape of their neighbor saying the N-word or whatever? So while this is now commonplace, I've been dealing with these cases in court. And so...
Do you have to go?
No, I haven't had to go. I had to go to the hearing for the next door neighbor for 4 days. And that was intense.
What was the hearing about? Just like
about a protective order. I wanted a longer protective order. And he then took one out on me, which was not helpful. And so, going through that whole experience with the hearing and then the way he felt about me and made those feelings known and got his friends to terrorize me. And his wife would stand in the yard with her friends and go, Kathy, like creepy, scary.
For how long?
Months.
How long would they do a
years.
Kathy session?
Since I got the restraining order.
So because she doesn't have one, her husband, or
well, no,
you don't have one on her.
They were next door, so they weren't like trespassing.
Oh,
they
right.
would be yelling from their own yard, which you can do to your heart's content. The restraining order isn't like a sound; it's just a physical location. So they can.
I kind of, I wish there were restraining orders on sound.
You know what? I'm calling my congressman, Ted.
I think it should be our next
It's going to be like Clueless. I'm going to pass that bill myself.
Okay, so how much better? What do you consider your like rock bottom, and then how much better are you since then?
All right, rock bottom is when I tried to take my life because I became addicted to prescription pills, then tried to overdose on them, and that was
intentionally.
Yes.
Like, I know
I wrote
a
note and the whole thing. Yeah.
Great.
And
did you any rewrites? Did you just go? Did you work it out?
Draft. No, but the funny thing is, I thought it was really profound, and then when I sobered up and I read it, it was like, "Meek, die now." Like it was just not the goodbye.
It would be great if there was
a song.
You want to start a podcast where we criticize people's suicide notes?
Yes.
And give them notes.
And
I think
give
it's about
notes
time.
and do rewrites. Yes.
I think it's about we get a room going.
Me
die now. Come on.
I know. I could have done better. And that was like probably the sort of rock bottom. Then I got sober.
What was the coming to?
The coming to was I literally woke up and I just had bruises and lacerations on my body that I didn't know how I got them.
You were at home by yourself?
I was at home by myself. I kicked out my husband and, I wasn't in my right mind in any way, shape, or form. So
how hard was the apology given to your husband?
It's what's called a living apology. Like you can't, that's the apology you can't do enough. So I have apologized, but will always apologize because for him to have to read a suicide note, and also he found me when I fell down the stairs.
So you kicked him out, then who found you?
I kicked him out. I was injured, but he got kicked out anyway. And then I came to, and I then texted a doctor and said, I've just taken like 100 benzos and I tried to take my life. And I'm alive, but I think I'm like injured. I don't know if I have broken bones or what.
Did any of them say, quick, let's do some Kundalini yoga?
Sat nam. And then I went to the hospital, and what I didn't know is that, I don't mean to give out tips, but what I didn't know is that when you're being like interviewed for like, what are you here for? I just was like, oh, I tried to kill myself. And what did you take? Oh my God, 20 Klonopin, 20 Valium. I didn't know that when you admit it, they then automatically have to put you on a 5150.
Yeah.
So
be vague about it. That's what you're trying to say.
Exactly. And that wasn't going to stand with me. And so I remember saying, well, like, okay, well, now I've given you this information. I feel better. I'm going to take off so you can go ahead and take this IV out of me. And the doctor then explained, you're going to be held here. And I straight up was still out of my mind, but I was like, oh my gosh, no, that is so... You don't even have to. I'm going to head out. I'll call my friend for a ride. Don't worry.
I'm being safe about it.
And then he said, there's 2 cops on the other side of the curtain, and there were. And then he said, well, I'll never forget. He goes, and if you try to leave, they'll put you in the bracelets.
They said there's 2 cops on the other side of the shower curtain, and they're not Trump voters somehow. So you're in great shape.
You can take off anytime, ma'am. So yeah, the bracelets is an expression that's so like old timey. And now that I'm in AA, in the big book, which I think was written in 1936, they use the term bracelets for handcuffs.
Great.
I had not heard that term before.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I'm 59 years old and I'm like, I'm going to have handcuffs for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
So I went to the nut bin for 3 days, and then a nice doctor there said, I think you should try AA. And I know a couple that used to run a rehab, and it was during COVID. So they would come to my house every day and piss test me every day for like 4 months. And I kind of was weaned off them, but I'm like a proud member of AA now.
Great.
So that helps me tremendously psychologically with stuff too.
Is one of those things, do you wish you'd gone sooner?
Way sooner. Like it's a joke in AA that I started at 59. Nobody starts AA at 59.
Yeah.
At 59, you're getting your like 30-year chip. So yeah, it's hilarious that.
But everyone says I don't have a problem, but like, was it unleashed by the episode, all the hatred?
I
or was
think
it,
so.
Did you always drink? You always
No, I've never had a drink in my life to this day. I became a pill girl.
When?
I had a bunch of pills. Because anytime I would be prescribed either a benzo, a painkiller, I did talk a doctor into giving me Adderall, which I call Attagirls. And it was dumb. I just wanted to lose weight. So then I became addicted to those too.
Yep.
The speedball, if you will.
Yeah.
But I thought because I wasn't a drinker, I couldn't be an addictive person. Right. So when the Trump thing happened, I had a bunch of pills that I had kept in a safe. And I don't know why. I basically was hoarding prescription pills.
Squirreling them away.
I was squirreling them
away. That was
away.
your 401k.
Right. And I needed it. And so I just stayed in bed and took pills all the time. And then that led to the suicidal ideations. And then thinking, I can just take a bunch more pills. It won't be that big of a deal. And I was convinced my husband would be better off and that I had
When you kicked him out, what was your, reasoning to him?
I had started a fight, something about. You don't
care enough about me, that type of thing?
Yeah, like something like that. Yeah. But I knew I wanted him out of the house for the incident. And
you didn't want him around for your suicide?
I know, isn't that weird?
Huh.
And normally I'm so social.
So cold.
I know. And so it had to be just really in his heart on him,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a horrible thing to do to somebody because I was only thinking about myself and getting relief, but I wasn't thinking as much or really at all about, wow, that would suck to be the person who finds your wife died with suicide.
And the last thing she said was rude or mean or whatever.
Right.
Are you, when you say that's it's a lifelong apology.
Yeah.
Are you consciously nicer to him?
Well, yes, but AA makes you nicer because in AA, they're kind of all about and I don't mean to make it sound culty, but they're all about humility And while I, don't have a ton of that, any I do is because of being sober, but they're all about
you should be ashamed of your suicide note for the rest of your life.
oh, absolutely.
At least
that
until
they weren't better.
Until your next suicide.
Count on it. Count on it.
And that's the Kathy Griffin promise.
That's right. It's like must-see TV in the 80s. And so that's 12-step stuff is very helpful. Also, I like AA meetings because everybody has 3 minutes to share, right? But it's like a no bullshit zone. So it was good for me to just go to these meetings every day, just to be in a place where people are just talking about their real shit. Which is nice.
I've never been to a bad 12-step program meeting. Like I've gone to hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Never a bad one.
Right.
They are fantastic.
Right.
Okay. So
and I just wanted to work again. That was the main thing. Like, just get me back on the road. Get me back on tour.
You were just going to the AA meetings to do time. That's what I heard.
Sometimes I would kill. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet you fucking crushed.
Oh, especially when I was the chairperson.
Oh, it was a fixed fight.
Mm-hmm.
I was a treasurer for a couple of years.
Oh.
So
how much did you make?
You shut your mouth. I don't think I was helpful. I don't think it was. There was no uptick from my help. But
yeah.
Okay. And then, how much better are you now than your rock bottom?
Oh, 100%.
Like, you feel like yourself.
I will say though, the PTSD thing is rough because sometimes I get attacked when I'm not. Obviously, I don't plan on it, but I have like this thing called a resting tremor that I didn't have before. It's something I have to be mindful of in a way that's almost like a health. It is a health condition.
Diabetic or diabetes
yeah,
or like How much has the vomiting gone down?
That's almost totally gone. I've been having since then about one attack a month.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's probably the kind of thing where like now you can't stop the other stuff because you don't know what's doing what.
Yeah.
So
also it's all like I get cupping. This
is to the sizable Malibu wellness
bullshit.
Community. Yeah. A lot of it's bullshit. A lot of it's psychosomatic.
Right.
A lot of, like, I don't know.
Acupuncture.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't rule it out.
It's not hurting.
And even the needles, using needles doesn't
No,
hurt.
even the needles don't hurt.
No, I mean,
cupping
I'll be open to it.
Yes.
Listen, we're both of our
we're cupping our way to mental health.
Okay, very good. Oh, this would fucking drive me crazy.
What?
MAGA people in the audience set to disrupt the show.
Yes.
Like they send in ops,
like
basically.
Banner drops, like GoFundMe's. Like, I was doing a show in San Francisco and two guys, it was kind of genius. They dressed up in drag. So they were like a normal Kathy Griffin audience member anyway. And they bought seats way in the top of the Masonic. And they had just one of those giant blue Trump 2020 flags banners. So they dropped it. And then you kind of hear that. You're not sure what you hear, but
like nonsense,
going on.
some kind of nonsense, commotion.
Yeah. So then finally someone's able to like yell in a way I can hear, like there's a guy in the back, So that happened. Then it takes a while because you got to go all the way up there.
Yeah.
And then when you're ejecting them, they have a selfie stick because they're live streaming to their Facebook group. And they say, I'm being assaulted at the Kathy Griffin show. I'm being assaulted at the Kathy Griffin show. So that goes with the territory.
Right.
I had a guy buy a ticket to like the first row at a show I had in Philadelphia. And about 15 minutes in, he just starts yelling, pedo, you're a pedo, you're a pedophile. And because he's in row one, the rest of the audience is like, oh, I can see the guy. I can see
something. I can't hear what he's saying.
I don't know what he's saying. And is it a joke? And is Kathy going to riff with it? So, it takes time. And so my Houston show, guys show up in a Trump shirt, pictures of Trump all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a knife. And there's video of it on YouTube. He's literally waving a knife around the front.
Did you live stream it?
So he did. I'm sure he did.
I'm sure.
And by the way, nothing happened to that dude.
Meaning like he was free to go?
Nobody
he was like
even
let
stopped
outside?
him. It was so unexpected that my security was like going, run. Like my security was the word run.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was, first of all, it was at their Symphony Hall. So you've got this very nice audience, some of them even a little dressed up. And then there's just a guy who just showed up. And this was actually after the show. And, I got in the car and I left. And we went around the block because I said, I have to see this. And I freaking saw the guy. And he was just waving a knife around the front. And there were a couple of security guys trying to kind of stop him. But they were just yelling to patrons, run, run. It's just really nuts.
It's not, yeah.
And it just, let me just say, it just
I hope
wasn't
everyone
ever
who hears,
was.
yeah.
Like we can, look, I've had hecklers and I've had all the normal stuff we all
Right.
have, but this really is different.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to say to like anyone who's listening, like, but like, yeah, that's what you think this is average or cool. It's not at all.
No.
No, I will say that the guy who tackled Dave at the Hollywood Bowl had a T-shirt on that said, "I'm going to tackle you." So
That,
a
were
lot
you
of
there for
times,
that?
no, I wasn't actually. No, I had a show that night.
That incident was so nuts.
Yeah, but I think yours sound worse.
Well, first of all, I didn't have a big beefy guy like Chris Rock right on
Yeah,
kick
well,
his ass.
no.
No, but the fact that the like other comics came together and then they actually tackled the guy, but he still was like trying to stab.
Yeah,
and
it was a total
knife
failure.
Made out of like
Yeah.
MacGyvered.
Yeah, total failure on that guy, on security's part.
Yeah.
And if Dave
At the
ducks him,
bowl.
yeah.
At the storied
I
Hollywood
mean, luckily
Bowl.
Dave can do the bowl every night.
Yeah, that's true.
So good. So
That's true. It's not like he can't go back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, anyone who's been in the bowl, that just doesn't happen there and never did.
Yeah,
I don't care how crazy the musical act was that was there.
yeah.
No, I have never, ever heard in the history of the bowl.
I
somebody
never
got up and
heard
ran on
anyone
stage.
rushing the stage at
No.
a comedy show.
No.
Like, oh, and what was the people think you're still canceled? So, meaning,
Well,
I mean,
look,
I guess
I'm
I'm
not
as guilty-
uncanceled.
huh?
I'm not really uncanceled. Like,
What's different?
what's different finally is that I actually have a tour. So
Great.
that's really the tangible thing. But it's not like my phone's ringing, you know? So
There was some stand up in the documentary, right?
yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't really a tour though.
No, my last tour, that was almost 6 years ago. But my last tour was the best tour I've ever done in my career.
Money wise,
And reviews. I got the best reviews of my career. And I thought, even though the tour was about being canceled and about really primarily about the Trump stuff, I threw in some celebrity stuff, but mostly about the Trump thing. I really
and he is
thought,
technically the host of the Apprentice. So.
yes,
And he always will be.
one of the many ways I met him, by the way. And, you know, I just thought the phone would ring because the film got so well reviewed. I did a bunch of film festivals. I was doing Q&As with cool people. And I thought, okay, people might have been scared, but now I've put this movie out. It's called Kathy Griffin, A Hell of a Story. I put this movie out a year and a half later or a year, whatever. And I thought I could maybe be able to go back to work, but it was still too soon. It was as if it took America this long to forgive me. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
But I think they're kind of like, yeah, okay.
I
now
think there's a weird
you
thing happening
know.
now where in order you have to have some sort of narrative where you have to like face up to
Yeah.
some wave of
Right.
negative or criticism.
Right.
And then if you can get through it, it's like winning a sword fight.
Yeah.
But if you're like, no, I'm not leaving
Yeah.
and I'm not shrinking and I'm like, you can't really beat me.
Yeah.
Like there's no beating me. You can stay mad at me, but you're not.
Right.
You're not. Look, I am gonna attempt suicide. I'm gonna get real close.
That's right.
Me die now.
Right.
But if you
Me die faster.
me die faster.
You know, sooner.
It just becomes a thing where like it makes people like you more.
Yeah.
And then you also have like you're an underdog again, which is always the better position.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is a lot of people came around when I got cancer just because that's so relatable.
Mhm.
And I think the fact that you can hear my voice is a little bit different, a little bit higher or whatever. It's almost like I feel like I'm kind of wearing the
Yeah.
trauma, not in a bad way, but I like, let's cut the crap. If you're at a Kathy Griffin show, you know who I am now.
Yeah.
You know about the picture. By the way, in the new show, I don't mention Trump once.
Great.
It just, not that I'm afraid of it hjust doesn't come up.
I'm gonna cut him out of this. It's gonna be a 9-minute podcast.
Oh, that'll kill him. That'll kill him.
If you saw Trump, what do you think it would be like?
I would approach him for sure. I don't know if
What do you think he'd be like?
Oh, I know what he's like. He's a total pussy. And so one of the last times I saw him was when he hired me as part of the finale of not the Celebrity Apprentice, but after that, he went back to doing like the non-Celebrity Apprentice too.
Mm-hmm.
And so he hired me to roast him for an event that one of the teams was putting on, like a charity event.
Right.
Even though, as you know, I'm not a classic roaster, but I get how people would think I'm a roaster. So I was like, great. And the headliner for the event was Liza Minnelli. So I would have done it for free.
Yeah.
But he gave me $50K, which was respectable. And I flew to New York, went to Bedminster, spent the whole day with him and Liza, which prior to Trump being Trump, I actually thought it was kind of fun because all the times that I knew him and saw him, he just was like a lovable doofus.
Right.
I don't know that I ever thought he had the wealth of Elon Musk or anything, but he was a fixture for so long that he kind of played that character.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I didn't know the racial stuff. I didn't know the sexual assault stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just thought, oh, he's like the goofy real estate guy who's rich and has his own black and gold plane. And, you know, I thought The Apprentice was a really good show. I watched it religiously.
The other thing I said about Trump is like, guy was #1 on all of television.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
more entertaining than ER.
Yeah.
And what
Right.
the fucking CSI and like
So what's crazy is I got along great with him.
Yeah.
Not just well. He kind of he's one of these guys that he likes to try to verbally spar with a comic, even though he's not. But he'll play. Like in his
Right.
way, he would play along.
Yeah.
So like when I walked onto set, he did the sign of the cross with his fingers. He's like, oh, here she is, everybody. Let's hope she goes easy on me tonight. Not too much about the hair.
I've known Kathy Griffin for a long time. I'm sure she'll be attacking my hair and lots of other crap today, but that's okay.
And I was like, what's not to
Did
love?
they sell that to ISIS?
It's in the video.
Great.
And so also he was like driving Liza Minnelli and I around in a golf cart at Bedminster. And I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, this is not. That's got to be that's a very unique experience.
Very unique. Also, of course, you know, I like worship Liza. I don't just like.
I didn't. No one thought you had any.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I got
we
it.
all were
so
very
I
confident.
was already queening out about just being with Liza. And then here's this like character driving the golf cart. He was driving it crazily, which I also thought was harmless and fun.
Right.
I was also raised by alcoholic parents. But, you know, we took pictures together. And at the Larry David roast, I sat next to him on the dais for 4 hours. And I was on The Apprentice another time when my dear, dear Joan Rivers called and said, will you be one of the celebrities that comes and buys a handbag during this challenge? So I spent that evening, and he and Ivanka were like always chatting with Joan because they knew Joan and loved her. Like, so many run-ins with him that were harmless. And I would see him at NBC Uni events.
Yep.
And he kind of rolled with a joke so I would probably approach him and he would probably do something similar to like,
Yeah.
because he'd be I'm sure he'd be in
But
a protected
also
environment.
although he could play it just strictly aggrieved.
And I would probably, honestly, I'd probably do like one jab. But
Right.
I wouldn't try to ever explain to him what the experience was for me because I honestly don't think he can process it.
Yeah.
So I'd probably try to make like, you know, a zinger
Right.
and move on.
That's
about it.
that shows if it's true, it shows a lot of restraint.
Oh, we'll see.
That's
We'll
what I mean.
see.
Like,
Eventually.
That's the plan.
Somehow I'm going to outlive him. What would you do if you ran in? Did you ever have someone where you thought, I got to plan what I do when I run into them?
Yeah. I'm sitting on a list of insults for someone
Right.
as we speak. But I'm not the picture of health.
But any comic, I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
We don't talk about it.
Okay. Any comic of our possible generation, we also can have a joke from the 90s thrown up in our face any minute. And I wouldn't do my 90s material for many reasons.
Mhm.
That's one of them. But also,
Because it would be offensive by today's standards?
of course, but
Yeah.
also we're in this weird era of like the evolution of comedy is as if it is not seem to be understood by anyone. And I don't want to be
Somebody
like
was
cancel
emailing,
culture.
Twittered me today, and I was like, lady, you don't understand comedy.
Yeah.
If you think I'm going to cut a Meghan Markle joke,
Yeah.
what are you talking?
Right.
So whatever, yeah. No,
or,
you're right.
Or by the way, or if you make a Meghan Markle joke, that means you are inherently racist. because the 90s
this was misogyny.
Okay.
She was accusing me of misogyny.
The era and the kind of material that I do, and I admit the 90s and the aughts were a brutal kind of comedy. It was roast on Comedy Central every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm sure but
Morning radio.
Morning radio. Oh my God. Yes.
War crimes.
That's all over. That's
Yeah.
all over. But I try to explain to my younger friends, like, you kind of had to live through it to believe it. Like you were saying about the fucking DDT truck, right? Like
Yeah.
the 90s and the aughts were just, the mandate was go hard.
Yeah.
Go as hard as you can.
Yeah. And weirdly, like your thing was he deserved to be went hard. You're allowed to go hard at the
He's
president.
the president.
Did you know Mort Saul's story at all?
No.
So Mort Saul is like one of the top comedians in
Yeah, of course.
in 1960. Like he's on the cover of Time magazine.
My parents idolized, he was their god. He was their favorite.
So Kennedy, JFK, asked him to write stuff for his campaign. Like, just give me like a joke up front.
Yeah.
Right. Mort Saul goes, I'll do it, but just know if you win, I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
He wins. Mort and the club Mort Saul worked out, the Hungry Eye in San Francisco, JFK's dad shut it down.
Wow.
Like closed it.
Yeah.
And then the weird kind of heroic postscript is the DA from New Orleans who investigated the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
Mort Saul went and volunteered to help solve the.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but it's like when politics intersect with.
No, but presidents are supposed to be able to take it on the chin.
Yeah.
I will admit Obama was the hardest to make fun of, not just because I'm a libtard lefty, but I just didn't, it was hard. He had a good sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh, he had a great sense of humor.
And obviously Bill Clinton. So I've been around long enough to have made fun of every president.
Yeah.
And never a repercussion.
No.
And so that part too, I was still shocked about.
I've never seen the video of him doing that. Like that seems like no one released it as like Trump and Kathy Griffin in better times or whatever. Like
I know.
They had a playful relationship or it was too easy to like.
Believe it or not, I would probably rewatch The Apprentice. I thought it was so good. I'd probably just do the celebrity one. But
let's face it.
Man, if you remember, everybody was on that show. Academy Award winners. Like it was shocking how many people he got to do that show, celebrities.
Yeah.
Many did not need the money.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those cultural moment shows.
Yeah.
And they made him look good. And I thought he was a billionaire also. And
he had a stretch limousine. How can he not be?
That's right. And, Money, 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 Money was a great song. And
Sure.
I remember the finales being like must-see TV.
Yeah.
And then they became live like television events. So, yeah, that's who I thought he was.
Yeah. All right. You mentioned your parents being alcoholics.
Yes.
Did they agree?
No.
When you went to AA, did you wish you'd also gone to Al-Anon?
Not so much that. It actually made me sad. My parents didn't go to Al-Anon because my eldest brother was a crackhead and he died in my mother's arms. And they went to one Al-Anon meeting in their life. And I mean, this is funny because that's who she was. But they came home and my mother went, "Oh, I am so glad we went. Those poor people have real problems." No irony.
My mom had the same thing. Dad, clearly an alcoholic. Clearly. Like open and shut case. On his deathbed.
By the way, functioning, just so you know. My parents were my dad always had a job. My mom was I'm not even going to say it. She was like an absent mom. She was home.
Yeah, my dad was a corporate tax lawyer.
Yeah.
Like healthy
and
career.
We're never day drinkers. So
my dad started day drinking when he retired.
Oh, well, that's different. I thought you meant, no, seriously. Of course, when they retired, then it was game on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on my dad's deathbed, he was offered morphine and asked for gin.
Oh, wow.
And my mom was still like,
yeah,
who knows?
Right.
I'm not convinced. Now, and what do you look at that as a lot? Not even the cause of your problems, but like the emotional.
It's the classic comic story. You know what I mean? Picked on as a kid,
right?
Not in the popular blah 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 bleep bleep bloop blop.
Yeah,
that's the story.
But I'm saying like your nervous system informed by
I think
living
I'm
in an
a pill
alcoholic.
addict because I am from a family of addicts. I think it's a genetic. They're part of it's genetic.
And do you ever? I mean, I'm sure you do. You guys do cover like how it affects your behavior, codependency, or like,
I'm probably pretty coda.
yeah.
And I am not good at picking up cues on people because I'm so used to being around a crazy family
Right.
that I'm not so, in my love life, this did not serve me well prior to being married. I wouldn't know if a guy was crazy until like well into the relationship or I didn't
Because you
see
thought everyone
signs.
was crazy?
I just wasn't good at seeing signs because remember, my parents were telling me they weren't alcoholics.
You were good
They
at
were
seeing
functioning.
astrological signs.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh boy. And so, and they took it to their grave saying we were never alcoholics. And I want to ask you this, with your mom and dad, did you mind even when they got older or did you not care anymore?
I was mad at my dad until I did free mics, and now I it's like barely a part of my
Until you did what?
free mics, my first Netflix, like, because I talked about him a lot.
yeah.
So it kind of got it out of me or something.
Yeah.
And then it's a weird thing where he's not a part of my emotional ecosystem,
Yeah.
like at all. And my mom's not an alcoholic. She's got like the denial of someone who's married to one for 50 years.
Right.
So,
Right.
and
My
I
mom
also
would go, Kathleen, denial is a river in Egypt. How about that? Like she was so proud of it.
Yeah.
We love our denial.
technically it is.
She did make a great case and said denial made it way easier to go through life.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. And
Very
I,
honest. Very
yeah,
honest.
and I say this all the time, like, and their parents were illiterate farmers or whatever.
My mom was the youngest of 16 children.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
The Irish Catholic, you know what I mean.
I do.
Okay, the rhythm method.
Sure. Very effective.
Wait, are you an accident baby? Or were you planned?
My brother, the one above me, is 1.5 years, so maybe 2.5 years.
Okay.
But so who knows?
How old was your mom when she had you?
40.
You might be an accident, Neal. You might want to ask your mother if you're planned or if you're an accident.
What good would it do me to know?
That could be another 20 minutes at least.
Fuck material. Okay, so you don't the not even the genetic thing of being prone to addiction.
Yeah.
The emotional.
Just the chaos and yeah.
So you're kind of comfortable with chaos.
Yeah.
Your parents, I do remember them yelling on the D list.
Yeah.
A lot of like yelling into the other
And
room.
yelling and cursing is still my love language. So
Yeah.
I also, like, if I hear someone yell, like many times when I've been confronted by MAGA people, I often will still think they're doing a bit. Like, oh, they recognize me.
Yeah.
They want to
They're
like
doing a
come up and be
MAGA
funny.
person,
And
yeah.
they want to go back and forth
Yeah.
and then get a selfie. So honestly, like even that would happen. So I kind of have to be hit over the head with it. If
And
somebody's, like,
most of your
nuts.
relationships were predicated on eventually finding out the person was crazy.
No, but and look, I'm talking about sometimes even just one date.
Oh,
Like,
right.
I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? My girlfriend would have looked at this guy and known this guy is crazy,
Yeah.
whatever. But it would still take me like the whole date to be like, oh, okay,
Oh.
right. This is
Yeah.
a red flag.
Okay, it's the Earth's flat.
He
okay.
wants to polish his firearms,
Yeah.
So it's the first date.
Huh.
So I'm not sure about my own sense of normalcy or being like having great cues about that.
How's your husband? How does that compare to other relationships?
Well, first of all, he's like Joe Normal. So he's not an addict. He doesn't have that in him. He's, a normie, as we say in the
Mhm.
program. And he's more calm and cool. So
Mhm.
I do well with that kind of temperament. So luckily he's got that kind of temperament because I can't imagine being with a guy who's as jacked up as I am and like frenetic and, so he's sort of more the calm and cool one. And I like that. And he's 18 years younger. So it's kind of like a whole generation of, he doesn't have like the sexism and the ageism and the misogyny that maybe a guy 20 years older than me would have.
Guaranteed.
Right. So that's kind of been helpful.
I think my dream for any relationship is the woman apologizing to me all the time.
Wouldn't that be
So-
great?
Oh,
Then you're never wrong.
I know.
Oh. Have you
You
put
have-
that on your profile?
I actually got somebody right now. So,
And she thinks shit is your fault sometimes.
so far, she's been the most reasonable woman I've ever dated.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's excellent. Like
Reasonable
she will.
is so good.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
And because I myself just got reasonable like 6 weeks ago. I can't explain it. Like I just
6 weeks ago? You
no,
should have led with that.
Huh?
What do you mean 6 weeks ago?
I just started being. I would feel sorry for myself. I'd instantly victim.
What happened 6 weeks ago?
I posted a picture of Trump.
Okay, you can't just say 6 weeks ago. I think I'm gonna let it go.
Truthfully, MDMA.
Oh.
Put it in the cycle.
All right. Now, do you use it with mushrooms or by itself?
Good question. I've done it, I think, 5 times this year, and I've done it 3 or 4 times just MDMA, and once hippie flip is the term for doing mushrooms and MDMA.
Oh, okay. And how long did your trip last?
The hippie flip was like long, and I did too many mushrooms.
Like 4 hours? Like 8 hours?
No, it was like 5.
Okay.
Like the MDMA is 5 or 6, and then mushrooms was like another 4.
All right. Did you have a breakthrough? And in what form did it take?
I've had breakthroughs on just MDMA. Because the ayahuasca and the DMT, it's a God connection. I was an atheist before.
Okay.
And it's a complete God connection. Like, I can sense divinity, and it's in pure love and whatever.
Mhm.
And then, so now when I do MDMA and mushrooms, it's also a God connection.
Oh.
So it's pretty amazing. And I've gotten just better inner monologue and better from all of them. So that's where I've just been like in my body a little more reasonable, a little less reactive, a little less like,
Yeah.
and just slowing the process down.
Yeah.
So yeah, being reasonable is great. Shout out to the reasonable.
Seriously?
Yeah. And apologetic. Fuck.
Oh God. What's that like?
No, I'm saying that's what you are for Randy.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And don't stop.
No, it's a big one and it's a recurring theme.
All right. So what have you done? Is there any stuff you haven't mentioned in terms of like getting better? Therapy? No, you've kind of run the gamut.
Yeah.
And I like asking people about, you've heard about, everybody knows PTSD, but have you experienced, there's another one called post-traumatic growth. Yeah, no one knows about it. It's like another thing. Like you can experience a trauma.
Yeah.
And you can be, in a weird way, better for it.
Oh.
I don't know. It's a thing that if you don't know about it, then they're not telling anybody.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're better off for having experienced something.
Well, look, I think when you go through hard times, you get the benefits are you probably get deeper. I would almost liken it to like if you go through a really gnarly breakup. After a gnarly breakup, you tend to listen to music more. You tend to maybe value your friends more. So I can see that. I can see how there's sort of an upside to trauma.
And did you feel like you were stronger than you thought and all that stuff?
No, I honestly felt so banged up.
Yeah.
That I'm actually just feeling back to normal, but I can't honestly go like, and now I feel like a gladiator. It's, like I said, it's like something I kind of have to deal with almost daily because I have to manage it.
Yeah.
But it sure feels great to be working. And I look forward to the tour, not in a way that will cause me stress, but in a way that I love about touring, about discovering little fun diners in these places, and every audience is different. And to not have done it for so long is just like my face. It just puts a smile on my face to even think about hitting the mic one time, much less on like a proper tour.
Yeah, that's great, dude.
So I'm thrilled it came together.
I had a great time talking to you.
I love you.
Yep, you're great. You're so great, dude.
Oh.
Yep. Kathy Griffin, everybody.
Neal Brennan, ladies and gentlemen.
Kathy Griffin. I wasn't on, and then I'm finding my light.
Okay.
And my Kathy Griffin, everyone. Do your thing now.
Neal Brennan, everyone.
Pretty great.
Neal Brennan.